Hey friend, it's Summer with HandmadeNest.com, and I have a really great, at least I think it's a great idea to share with you today. So I was strolling along Hobby Lobby looking for some patriotic decor, and I'm not sure if your style is exactly like my style, but I tend to like a little bit more neutral rustic look when it comes to the Americana stuff. So I did not find this star in the patriotic section. I found it actually just in the regular wall decor near kind of where some theater art was, you know, where the movie projector and the popcorn and all that kind of stuff was. And it really caught my eye, and I thought, well, it's pretty as is, but I'm going to give it a little bit of a makeover. So what you saw me do was I just mixed up some brown acrylic craft paint, mixed it with water, and glazed over the galvanized to kind of antique it a little. The next step was coming in, of course, my style. I love rust, and I really wanted a little bit more of an orangey rust this time. So instead of just using cinnamon and Mod Podge, I'm pulling in some paprika, cinnamon, and Mod Podge. And if you don't know about this technique, you're simply putting the Mod Podge down in some areas you would want to create that faux rust spots. And then you kind of shake on the cinnamon and or paprika, and it sticks to it. And then you shake off the excess like you see there. And then you're going to come back over it. You'll go back over it with some more Mod Podge. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do the whole entire metal part because I did use that craft paint glaze that I made over the whole metal star. So this Mod Podge is really going to seal that in, and it's also going to seal in my faux rust spots. And it works really well. You know, Mod Podge is a sealer, but it works really well to, you know, make me know that my finish is going to hold up nicely. Now, as I kind of let this dry a little bit, I noticed that I wanted a little bit more interest in some spots. So then I decided to pull out some black, just craft paint, and I kind of put it in a couple spots. So you'll see me do that here in just a minute. Just adding in a little bit more dimension, a little bit more variation of the colors, and I'm really liking the way it looks. Now, the wood frame along the outside of the star is really beautiful as is. It's kind of a natural wood with a little bit of white here and there, but I really wanted this to pop because I'm actually going to mount this star on a grapevine wreath, and you'll see me do that here in a little bit. So I took some off-white chalk paint, and I'm just dry brushing it kind of along the edges. I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm also, because this is pretty thick, that's what I loved about it so much. And the regular price on this was, at the time I purchased it, $29.99, but the wall decor was half off, so I only paid $15 for this star, and it's nearly 2 feet wide and 2 feet, you know, the star, it's nearly 2 feet large, so it's a pretty good size, very, very average size door hanger. So I thought it was a really great deal. Anyway, after that off-white chalk paint dries a little bit, I'm going to go back and just distress a little bit more to let some of that show through, some of the wood, the natural wood, and then some of the glaze that kind of seeped onto the wood. It's showing in a couple spots. And then after I dust it off, I am so happy to be pulling out my rubber stamps. Now, I will tell you, when I first came up with this idea for this door hanger wreath, I was not even thinking about using my stamps. And then I thought I really wanted a word on here somewhere. And I thought about using a tag. And, you know, creatively you go through all the different ideas. And I thought this star is perfect to just do words on every little part of the frame. So I kind of created it like it was a border. So some of the words when you hang it will be upside down on the bottom part of the star, like you wouldn't be able to read them. My husband and I kind of had a funny discussion about this because he thought I should do it a different way. But I will tell you, my process was to do it where it looked like it was a border and you could turn the star any way at any time and the top would read right. So that's what we settled on. As a little extra interest, I took that same ink pad that I used and I rubbed it along the edges there. Next, let's make a cute, shabby fabric rustic type bow to go with our star wreath. And so I measured some strips. I ended up with 3 strips of all the different kinds that I used. Just some various reds and blues, some ticking in there, and some with cute little red stars. And I used this window pane ribbon that I love making so much. I cut them all about 10 inches long. And then I pulled out some of that. Y'all might have seen me use the American moss back at Easter, and I used it for a nativity scene and stuff like that. Decided to put it in some bows. I've seen some other creators doing that, and I loved the filler. I thought it was really fun. So all that I do to make my bows, if you haven't seen a tutorial, is I crisscross them, making an X in my hand back and forth, filling up, just going in a pattern until I have a really full bow in my hands. And then I just tie it off with a little bit of jute string. And once that's all nice and fluffy, we're going to put that to the side, and I'm going to try to give you a quick idea of how I attach this star to the grapevine wreath in case you want to know. I picked up this natural looking wire and I just stapled it in a few spots on the star, And it kind of matched the grapevine perfectly, so I wasn't too concerned about you being able to see it and all that, but I just pushed it through there. It was really sturdy, twisted it off, and it was ready to go. Now the final touch was to put that bow in place, and I just simply tied the jute string around the wreath and it was ready to be hung. I love it so much. I'm obsessed. It exudes beautiful rustic patriotism. It's just my style. I hope that this project inspired you in some way. I'd love to know how. I hope y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching.